understanding how to deal with the subject English when it comes to writing, when it comes to speaking, when it comes to hearing. We always come up with such kinds of topics, such kinds of basic grammar understanding, which is going to be really, really helpful for you in your daily needs. In daily needs, what basically is required is expression in form of writing, expression in form of hearing, expression in form of speaking. Mainly what I have seen most of the time, people are into in all these three things. And this is actually basic understanding language classes which Hello English is taking for all the students, or all those who are really interested in understanding without taking anybody's help. Today we have actually come up with a very basic requirement of a sentence. I will rather say forming of a sentence. And this basic formation of a sentence becomes, this is something I will say that when we learn in grade, in our inception years, we are in the sense of understanding basic sentence formations is something like individually understanding the alphabets and numericals 1, 2, 3 or ABCD, and how we join these numericals and how we join these alphabets to form words. That is what the base we are here looking for our English classes. Okay. I think my dog is getting hyper on somebody and we can hear his noise. Somebody will take care. Sorry for the disturbance out there. So today's class is basically talking about subject and predicate. I hope you must have heard somewhere this subject and predicate. It's basically when we have to say something. Let's understand it in this way, that when I have to say something to someone, I have to talk about something, talk about that person, talk about a particular topic. There has to be something that we are referring to. If I have to say something, give me a pen. So I'm referring to someone and I'm saying that what is it that I require? It's a pen. And who is saying it? I am saying it. So when I am saying it, me becomes the subject, and what I require it, the rest part becomes the predicate. Now this is actually a sentence. In this manner, you make a sentence. And now in this manner, I will say we put in a lot of different kinds of parts of speech. Subject and predicate is the base of it. And in this, we put different kinds of parts of speech, which is actually the verbs and adverbs and adjectives and prepositions and conjunctions and interjections and on and on and on. So we are trying to just make you understand the base form today. So let's get started. And as you all know that we have got a set format, and in that set format, we'll be first explaining you about the topic that we have got today, like we have today subject and predicate, and followed it with exercises so that you know how to implement it, so that we can understand the usage of it. That's one part of it. Second part of it, which I really want you to make it a habit whenever you come for Hello English classes with anyone here teaching you, or whenever you are taking your classes with anyone for that matter, please keep a pen and a paper with you to copy down the notes, whatever the teacher is trying to give it to you. The teacher would be speaking or the teacher would be using a PPT. Both places she or he is going to seriously talk about some important aspects that you can note it down. You can copy it, whatever the PPT has been shown to you. Now, it's going to be helpful in what manner? It is going to be helpful because then after those kinds of PPTs, when you see, or implementations when you see, you actually don't require anybody's help. You can do it on your own. You can frame it on your own. There might be a little struggle in the initial stages, but then it will be very, very helpful. And then whatever notes you have made, whatever recordings you have kept it with you, whatever snapshots you have taken, you can actually use them. You can actually revise them. Rather, I'll say you should revise them. You should regularly use them. That's the benefit of it. Else there is no point. You will come here every day, see it, and then the base is forgotten, and then you feel, oh, I've got everything. I have understood everything, but that's not the fact. you have to go back to your lesson ages. You have to go back to the base lessons that is being taught, and then you should try and implement it. So let's get started. Here we are. I hope you can all see the PPT here. It must be on your screens if I'm not wrong. Are you able to see the PPT, all of you? Just a second. Okay, so let's understand it with the help of few sentences. Okay, when we make a sentence, now this is I'm just reading it out. I've explained it to you, but then still I would like to go word by word and explain it to you in a better manner. When we make a sentence, now why do we make a sentence? This is the first question. What is it that sentence is? Sentence is basically an expression. Sentence is nothing but it's a group of words which is imbibed together to express whatever you want to say. Right. So whenever we make this sentence, we have to name a person or a thing. Okay. You have to name somebody, or you are going to name a thing. Okay. So when you have to name a person or a thing and say something about the person or a thing. So when you are trying to name something, when you are going to talk about something which is going to be living or non-living. So here we are taking person or a thing. Now you have to going to talk about it, right? I need a laptop. I becomes my subject, and need a laptop becomes my rest part. That's what we are trying to say. So we have to name, and then the rest part is required, whatever we want to say. Hence, every sentence has got two parts. So whenever we make a sentence will mainly have these two parts, but I'm giving an extended information here that each sentence does not only consist of subject and predicate. That's a mandatory part of having a subject and a predicate, else it's not a complete sentence. But this sentence will surely have different kinds of parts of speech. Okay. Yes, we'll be dealing with the imperative sentence in this particular PPT. Well, I'll make you understand about the subject as well. Okay, let's see. Now, the part which names the person or a thing that we are speaking about is called the subject or subject of the sentence. Now, whenever we are trying to talk about, whenever we are trying to specially speak about, it's a person or it's a thing. That particular thing is a subject. The part which remains which tells something about, whatever it is informing us about, whatever it is updating us about, whatever it is talking about, that rest part becomes the predicate. So that's what exactly a sentence is going to be. A sentence is going to be what we are talking about. Whom are we talking about? Is it something who is living, or is it something which is non-living? And what are we talking about? The balance rest part becomes my subject, predicate. Now let's understand it. Suppose there is a sentence which has got 10 words in it, and in these 10 words I can figure out that there is a name. Ram is sitting on the table. So the name here is, who is sitting on the table? It's Ram. So we are talking about Ram here. So my noun, which is Ram, or if I say he, or a pronoun, which is a human being, becomes my subject, and the balance part of it is sitting on the table. The whole rest, all the words there, becomes my predicate. Now, let's see this. The subject of the sentence usually comes first, but occasionally it is put after the predicate. Now, the subject of a sentence usually, now this is again a little further understanding here, that normally we see that we talk about the subjects in the first manner. We are going to first refer to the subject, but sometimes, depends on the sentence. It is like at a later stage you come to know about the subject. So let's see how it is. Here comes the bus. So we are here talking about the bus. For us, the subject is for us in this particular sentence, the understanding. What are we exactly talking about? We're talking about the bus, and where is this bus? We're talking about the bus, that here it comes. Okay, but occasionally it is put after predicate. Occasionally. Now, occasionally is something which is rare. So it is not a regular practice, but yes, there is no complete rule here where you say that this is going to be placed always in the front. No. Sweet are the uses of adversity. So here we are talking about adversity. Okay, so adversity, when we're talking here about, that becomes my subject, bus becomes my subject, and the rest becomes my predicate. So that is about the two particular sections or thoughts of dealing with subject and predicate. And now that we have got, it's talking about imperative sentence. Let's understand first what is imperative. Imperative is something which has got, some kind of an emotion coming up. Now this emotion could be something which is happening right now, something which makes you happy, something which makes you sad, something which is like instantaneous. The moment you see something, oh my god, you got a new iPhone, that instantaneous kind of a thing. Or it could be something which is actually instantaneous, but at the same time it's not in the good manner, it could be in the sad manner as well. Okay, so as far as our imperative sentences are concerned, it's an emotional aspect of sentence that we talk about. But in such kinds of sentences, you will see that the subject at times, because what happens, it's instantaneous. Come here. Somebody said, come here. Now that person is just speaking up in a manner where it is instantly he's trying to say something. So when he's referring something instant, he says come here. So here the subject automatically is understood, you, the second person, you, that you come here. Or the moment we see the kind of example we have given it to you, sit down. Who's going to sit down? A teacher can enter the class and say to 50 students, sit down. Or a teacher can say, one student, sit down. It refers to both. Why? Because we are talking about here by saying you sit down. You is used for singular, and for plural form, it's a second person that we talk here. So thank you, thank him. Here the subject you is understood. So the moment it is said, thank him. So we're talking about whom? Who is going to thank whom? So it is understood that there is someone who is either standing and then the expression comes. Oh, you got a gift, now thank him. So then who's going to do it? You. So when we see a sentence, whatever we have understood with the first PPT is that when we see a sentence will have a subject and a predicate. This subject mostly is in the starting of the sentence, but occasionally we will find it in between the sentence or in the last part of the sentence. And in form of imperative sentence, the subject is not referred directly. It is not clearly mentioned, but it is understood. Now, this kind of subject is something which we'll say that it is not even mentioned, it is left out, but it has to be understood by the speaker or by the listener as to what subject we are referring to. Now, next, as I said, that we have a pattern, we have a system. Right now I've explained you something, right? Now you will be getting slides which has got some kind of exercises, practice exercises. So the next is you need to identify the predicate in the coming PPT. The cocking of geese saved Rome. So we are referring to what? Saved Rome is subject or the cocking of geese? Yes, that's right. We're talking here about Rome, saved Rome. That's the predicate we have here. We are here talking about cocking of geese is my subject, and the predicate here is saved Rome. Next. Identify the predicate. The boy stood on the burning deck. Stood on the burning deck or the boy? The first one is, yes, that's the predicate. Very good, Payal. Thank you for joining here. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you for joining here. Payal, you have joined me from the first, I started with the class. I think there is a problem that you did not understand. I'll just go back here because this is Anjali and Payal and Mriganka. If it is not, the first part is not clear, then there is no point in taking my class, because subject and predicate is the base of any grammatical thing that you need to understand. Let us understand it with this again. I've just come back again because I did not like you could not clear the first part. Okay. See, the second part here, just read it out. Here comes the bus. Let's understand, whenever we are trying to talk about a person or a thing, because whenever we make sentence, what happens when we make a sentence? We refer it to somebody. Na? There is somebody who is speaking. There is somebody we are talking about in that particular sentence. Now, when we are talking about that particular sentence, particular person or a thing in that sentence, that becomes my subject. Okay. And the balance, whatever is left, whether it is one word or whether it is 5 words or whether it is just 2 words or whether it is a single word, that part becomes the predicate. So what you have to do, you need to first sort the subject. See, because the next stage of subject and predicate, after subject and predicate, the next stage, if this is not clear, you will not get cleared in your other grammatical parts of it. Now, when I see this, when we are going to check on this, look at this sentence. The cocking of geese saved Rome. So we are here talking about what? We are talking about cocking of geese. So we are actually stating a statement by saying that the cocking of geese, what happened by cocking of geese? It saved Rome. So saved Rome becomes my predicate, and actually I'm talking about whom? I'm talking about cocking of geese. Next, again, if I talk about this sentence here, just check this. Stood on the boy. Now here it is easy for you because here we have got the word there, boy. The boy stood on the burning deck. So who stood on the burning deck? It's the boy. Okay. Payal, Anjali, Mrigenga, Jagadish, please pay attention, and thank you so much, Rohan and Rohit, for giving the right answer. I'm referring to all those who gave the wrong answers. Please pay attention. The boy stood on the burning deck. We're talking about the boy here. You can see it's written there, boy. Who stood on the burning deck? It's the boy who stood. So boy becomes my subject. The boy becomes my subject, and stood on the burning deck. The whole part becomes my predicate. Why? Because we are talking about the boy. We are talking about the subject. So first identify the subject. First identify, we are talking about whom. The moment you identify, it could be a living thing, that means a person, or it could be a non-living thing. Now this could be, the subject could be a living thing, means any living thing for that matter. Okay, it could be human being, it could be animals, it could be yes, that's it. And then we have got all the non-living things. Don't make a mistake now. Next, let's understand. The predicate is the completer of a sentence. I hope now you understood. When we talk about the subject, right? The subject is going to be one word or maximum 2 words or 3 words. Okay, and then the rest part is something which is a filling part of the words because it's referring about the subject. So the rest whole part is the completion of a sentence. The subject names the doer or the bearer of the sentence. Doer or bearer means the person who is the person or the subject we are actually talking about. That's a doer, somebody who's doing the work. Who is doing the work or who is bearing? Actually, you're talking about whom. That becomes the subject here. The predicate does not rest of the work. The predicate is actually not doing the work. The work is actually done by the subject. So the whole focus is on the subject there. What is the subject? Who is the subject? What the subject is trying to say? So everything is the subject, and rest everything what is being discussed there becomes the predicate. Later classes we will understand the bifurcations of parts of speech in these sentences. But for today's class, this much is required that you all have to understand. A simple predicate consists of only a verb string or compound verb. Now this is something, an interior part of what the sentence is going to be filled with. Mandatory is verb. Verb has its own importance. Verb is a part of speech, like we have got noun and a pronoun and adjective and adverbs and prepositions and conjunctions. But out of so many parts of speech, we have got the most important is the verb we have. Of course, we have noun there, but then verb carries lot of importance, so you will have a verb, you will have verb string, means the helping verb there, you will have compound verbs there. Compound verbs means if you've got a complex sentence, a sentence which is having two compound sentences and one more phrase part of it that get connected with some conjunctions there, so in such case you will find multiple verbs there. That's a compound verb they're talking about. Now, for example, the glacier melted. So we are talking about the glacier. What happens to melted part? That becomes my predicate. Let's go to the next. Pick it up. The right. Identify the subject in the sentence. Don't make a mistake, please. Bad habits grow unnecessarily. Give me the right answer. Who gave the right answer here? Only Rohan. Oh God, please. It's only Rohan who had chosen. Payal, again you made a mistake. Come, I would like to speak to you. Give me a minute, please. I need to refer to her. She is with me in the class. What happened? Where is the problem there? Good evening, Rohan. Payal, what happened? Why are you not able to understand? Why are you opting the wrong answer there? Can I get one reason to understand, please? Hello? I have allowed you to speak. Why did you unmute yourself? Darne ki kya baat hai? Come, I want to teach you, please. Don't get scared. Again, Anjali, Mridenga, Jagdish and Deena, so many are wrong here. Why? Okay, next is form a sentence using these words. Nature is the best physician, natural. The natural physician is best. Nature, first, second, third or fourth, which is the right. Very good, Rohan. Rohan, you have been trained, I think, quite well now. So Rohan gave the right answers. What about the others? What about others here? Let me see who all got wrong. Payal got wrong because your subject is and predicate is not clear. Mobin, again you got Mobin, welcome to the class. Now it says nature is the best natural physician. Fourth is the right answer. The best physician is natural nature. No. The physician is better nature. No, that absolutely wrong. So we are going to first see. All those who have joined me, please understand it. We are here referring to first, we are going to introduce the subject. As I said, most of the time subject takes the first part, okay, and the rest is the predicate. So first I take up nature and then I place the helping verb there is. The best physician, natural physician quality. I'm trying to build, I'm trying to talk about physicians. What kind of physician? Natural physician. So I'm placing it before introducing my physician part there. Please don't forget, when we form a sentence will always start with a capital letter and end with a period. That's a full stop. Okay, next. Identify the subject. We cannot pump the ocean dry. Of course, that's a pronoun, we. We cannot pump the ocean dry. See, cannot pump the ocean dry. All the rest of the words remains your predicate, okay? And we is supposed to be very good, Mobin. That's good. Thank you so much for doing that great work. Next, identify the predicate here. A barking sound the shepherd hears. A barking sound hears the shepherd. Who is the right one? Yes, absolutely. Mobin, again, see, that's a confusing part of it. You should just check that we are here talking about. This sentence is actually talking about whom? A barking sound the shepherd hears. A barking sound. Who is hearing? The shepherd is hearing. So what are we talking here about? Who becomes my predicate? A barking sound. The shepherd here, the shepherd is my predicate. Okay, next week my grandmother is coming from Korea. Identify what part of the sentence does my grandmother belong to. Next week my grandmother is coming from Korea. Very good. Listen to me. Now you need to identify what part of the sentence does my grandmother belong to. She belongs to Korea. So Korea becomes what? It becomes the subject, and the balance part all becomes the predicate. Very good, Payal and Mobin. Thank you. I could see that things have changed because the sentence type got changed. Identify the part as subject or predicate. Sitting on the roof of my house, this is one part, was a huge black bird. You have to identify the bracket part of it. See, Payal, please, now here in this sentence, just check it out. See, sitting on the roof of my house. You need to identify the bracket part. What is that? That's a predicate. Was a huge black bird. See, they're talking about whom? They're talking about the black bird. Where was she sitting? She was sitting on the roof of my house. Identify the part of the bracket as a subject or a predicate. On the way from school to Frankfurt yesterday afternoon, bus number 2 crashed into a parked car. So we are talking about what? Rohan is right. We are talking here about the subject. Oh, sorry, I gave the answer. Mobin is also right. Great. Let's check the next. Now the next is talking about compound subjects and predicates. What is this compound word? Let's understand this word first. Compound is something which is more than one when the words join together, or compound together. What happens? You have got one word basket and then you have got ball. Okay, basketball. When I join them together, it has got a third meaning altogether. That's what compound means. But here we are talking about compound subject. So now you can understand compound subject. That means more than one you find subjects. Okay, here at the same time, they are saying that you will be finding predicates. Compound predicate. That means more than one you will be finding predicate also. So there are, as I said, sentences. Two sentences joined together, or when you've got complex sentences, two sentences with full simple sentences, but one sentence which is a one half part, that is a phrase. When these three join together, it's a complex sentence. They might have more subjects, they might have more compound subjects and compound predicates there. Let's see. A compound subject is when two or more separate subjects take the same predicate or group of predicates. Now what happens? Compound subject is what do you find in a compound subject? You will find two or more separate subjects. That's what I said. What happens when there is a sentence which is going long? There is an expression which is required. It might be talking about more than one thing. Okay, so in that case you will find one or more subject. Okay, so they can be more subjects there. More separate subjects take the same predicate or a group of predicates. So it might be that you have got more than one subject, but both the different subjects are actually talking about one predicate. Okay, Ram and Sham are going to school. So you have got two subjects here, but what going to school becomes the predicate part. So if we have got two subjects, the predicate, that's a compound subject, and then that is whenever you have got more than one subject or more than one predicate, it's a compound subject and a predicate. So when I said Ram and Sham are going to school, so Ram and Sham becomes my subject. Going to school is the predicate. Now going to school is used, the predicate is used by Ram and Sham both. Clear? Okay. So a compound predicate is when subject or group of subjects take two or more predicates. Now the same thing differs here. Might be you have got one predicate, or might be you have got extended part of the predicate. Let's understand it with the help of an example. Meera and I played a game. So here becomes Meera and I. In this sentence, we can see played a game. Who played a game? It's Meera and I. So of course, both Meera and I played. So the clause has got two subjects, or we call them compound subject. This I clarified with Ram and Sham. Now, second is so just a second, I'll just scroll it down for my screen. Okay. Went home, and now Meera and I played a game. I went home and studied. What is the I went home I went home and studied. This is a separate subject, example I'm referring to. Went home and studied. Who went home? I went home. How many subject? One subject. But how many actions I did? I did two part of it. What is it? Home and studied. So this has got more than one predicate. Studied also and home also. Above sentences, you might notice that there are two went and studied. Since the subject I takes both of these predicates, the clause has got compound predicate. I hope it is clear to you now. So whenever we have got one sentence, in that particular sentence, we can have one subject or we can have more than that. Predicates are also, we can have one subject, we can have more predicates. So it depends on what we want to express. Let's go to the next slide. You need to identify the subject on this. On Saturday mornings, my friends and I play football in the park on Saturday. So you need to identify the subject. Here we have got two subjects here. Who gave it to Rohan? What went wrong here? Rohan, I don't expect from you this. Payal, great. Very good work there. So on Saturday mornings, my friends and I play. Friends and I. See, you're referring to two there. Next. Identify the subject in the sentence. Occasionally, the predicate comes before the subject. Occasionally, identify the subject. What is the subject here? The predicate. Identify the subject in this sentence. Occasionally, the predicate comes before the subject. So the predicate is, we are referring to about. Oh, the time is 6:34. Identify the subject. A guilty conscience needs no excuse. Which is the subject here? Come on, quickly. Very good. A guilty conscience. Very good, Payal. Mobin, very good. Wow, so good to see. Rohan, thank you so much for giving me that right answer. Identify the subject. No man can serve two masters. Very good. Payal, very good. Oh, you went wrong there. Payal and Mobin, just read the sentence. I know this gets really fast and sometimes it's difficult for you. You press it wrong, then sometimes you get wrong answers. Identify the subject. Borrowed garments never fit well. So which is the subject here? Very good. Payal, again we are incorrect there. Rohan, great. Mobin, please pay attention. The early bird catches the worm. It's an idiom. The early bird catches the worm. Very good, Rohan. The predicate here is catches the worm. So the early bird becomes the subject here. Identify the subject. Edison invented phonograph. Phonograph. It is Edison. Phonograph has been something which has been done by Edison. So I hope things are clear to you in this session. We had talked about the most basic part of the sentences to all of you. This is Veena, who is trying to make you understand. I'm a little unwell today, but if you have got some queries to ask, if there is any question that you have, please come up and ask. I have permitted both of you to speak. I think that's Tanu, if I'm not wrong in calling out your name, and Rohan. Is there anything that you need to ask? Don't forget, we have learned today subject and predicate. Please ask the question when we are trying to read a sentence that we're talking about whom, we are referring to whom. It might be one subject or it might be compound subject. This compound subject could talk about compound predicate or could talk about single predicate there. Fine. This is the most basic part of English. This is the most basic part of understanding how to make sentences. If you make an error here, if you do not understand this basic, you will really find difficult when we go in our other stages in the class. So this is Veena signing off. If you have anything to say, you are most welcome to express it to us. Please put it in the chat box if you have got any issues. I really thank all those people who join us on YouTube and all the people who are joining us from app. Thank you. This is a great effort. I'm looking forward to teach you all. I am available on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 6 o'clock. Please do join Hello English classes. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care.